to both sides of the cab so that I can get to power from either side, and it just makes it a lot easier and to go ahead and use these from either side instead of always having to use it from one side. So I got the same setup over here. There's a third thing that I'm going to add right down here. It's going to be a 110 outlet, outdoor style, and I'll have an inverter that I'm putting in the truck that's going to support that. So let's just keep moving on around here. As you can see, the winch top plate, I replaced that because the old one was, well, it just about had it. It had been beat up pretty good. And again, got new data plates to make that look nice and pretty. So I got that. Next thing we got here is there's two things. I've got right there, that is a spotlight, and I'll talk about that in just a second. And then on the front headlights, I have these brush guards. Now, you can put them like this or like this, and I decided I like the look of it going this way versus this way better, so that's why it's like that. These, by the way, you can get at it's called thosemilitaryguys.com, and they sell some pretty neat stuff, and I have some stuff of theirs already. I'll go in the inside of the cab and I'll show you that they can sell for you just nice upgrades that you can get for your M35 or whatever you're driving there. They have stuff for Hummers and other things too as well. Now this is an actual a handheld spotlight. So this isn't supposed to be put out like this, but what I ended up doing was I ended up making a bottom bracket right there, and then running a bolt through the center of the light itself. There we go. It goes right up inside there, and there's a bolt inside here that, you know, I mean, there's a bolt that goes through, then the nuts on the bottom, and it holds it really secure. Now I haven't finished wiring it up yet. You can see that I got it prepped with a grommet and everything for the wire, but I haven't wired it in the truck yet because I got to get some connectors for it, but it's going to be ready to go here shortly. Let's see, what else did I do? Yeah, the bridge plate, I got a new one of those. The old one was pretty hammered, and they're not too much money, so I got a new one of those. And I had this chain here, so I threw that on there. I have actually a lot heavier duty chain that I probably am going to replace the smaller chain here with, so that it can be used out on the trail. Okay, let's go around. See, I think I covered this side already. What you'll notice also on the mirrors are some CB antennas, and those are actually called fire sticks, and those work really well. I just put those on the other day and took it for a test drive, and they look good on the truck, and they work really well. You can kind of see how it's mounted right there. It's just a standard kind of mirror mount for outside, and they look good and they work well. And all I ended up doing was I ended up just running the wire in the back and then down through a crack in the door, which there was enough space for the wire to fit through right there, and into the cab and up to the CV. So, and then another thing I ended up doing, I know this is kind of tweaky, but I got camouflage zip ties. So there you go. Instead of just black or clear, you can go ahead and match up your zip ties. I think it looks pretty good. So, but there it is. So if you have a CB in your truck, I highly recommend fire sticks. It was easy to install, and it worked really, really well. Okay, so what I'm going to do here real quick is I'm going to go ahead and just take a peek in the cab. Before I do that, you'll notice that also the door handle here is a little different. This is a locking door handle. Now what I ended up doing, again, buying from thosemilitaryguys.com, was a matching keyed set of door handles and ignition switch. So I swapped out the standard push button starter, and it's now got a keyed ignition. And that key is the same for the ignition as it is for the doors. Really highly recommended. Again, not very expensive to do that, and your stuff is secured, and you're always covered there as well. And also from those military guys, I told you I got a bunch of stuff from them, is a keyed locking gas cap. So It just slides, that top part slides open, and you got your key. This is not keyed to the ignition, which is the bummer, but apparently they don't come that way. So, but at least it's keyed if you lived in an area where that might be an issue for you. Highly, again, another thing that's highly recommended. I'm going to show you a modification I did. I don't know if anybody else has done this. I haven't seen anything like it, but I've driven this truck quite a bit at night, and one of the things I noticed is that it's very, very dark in one of these cabs, and I decided that what it needed was this right here. That is a door courtesy light that I installed for this, and I used a standard dash panel light setup with a clear lens, and then I went ahead and added over here, you'll see, a universal door pin, and now I have courtesy door lights that, so whenever the door opens, I have it lighted, and so you instead of stepping out into the dark, you now are lighted around the door area. It's worked really well. Now, don't forget that the lights are all powered by 24 volts. So this pin switch is actually set up the way you buy them to be a ground interrupt. So what I had to do is I had to end up drilling out about a 1-inch hole and used a plastic insert to isolate the pin away from metal, and then drilled out the center of the door plastic insert, and bolted up the pin to the middle of that, so that now it's isolated from the metal, and it interrupts the power going to the door when it's closed, and of course when it's open, you get your door light. What I ended up doing was I ended up using a smaller 24 volt bulb in there. I think it's either the blinker light or the running light. I think it's the running light for the front and rear part of the truck. They're like the small round bulbs instead of the longer ones, and it gives out good light, but it's not too bright at night. And like I said, they fit right in there, and there's no problem with that. So neat little ad that I did, and it works really, really well. Okay, so here we are in the cab, and again, a lot of the things that you'll see here in the cab are have been changed, upgraded, etc. I went ahead and got all new, like I said, all new data plates for it, although I haven't put in the data plates for this one, and the one on the very left hand side, the top of the dash, but I've replaced or added other ones, sticker to go ahead and get it to looking and functioning like the way it kind of would have come if all that stuff had been there. So I've done that. Another thing I've done, which is right there, that is a aircraft map light. And so the way that works is that the light is actually always on, but when you pull it out slightly, there's a notch on the bottom here that actually makes light shine down into this area, so that you actually have a map light, and when you don't need it, you just close it and there's no light there. So eBay aircraft lights, map light. It was originally set up for whatever voltage, but it does have the standard sockets like the rest of the lights in the truck do, and the panel lights. So I was able to put a 24 volt bulb in there, the standard dash 24 volt bulb fit into this, and so I'll just wire it up to your 24 volts, and bingo, you got a nice little map light there for your passenger. Another thing I've done is replace the passenger seat covers with new canvas covers. eBay in this case, but I know you can find them in other places. So, because the other ones were pretty hammered, so I got that. And then